Hello, and thank you for joining us today for this change of responsibility ceremony between Command Sergeant Major Ted Copeland and Command Sergeant Major Andrew Lombardo. Due to the current travel restrictions in response to COVID-19, we are unable to conduct ceremonies in the traditional sense. Our hope with this virtual ceremony is to honor the time and commitment Command Sergeant Major Copeland gave to the soldiers of America's Army Reserve, and to properly welcome Command Sergeant Major Lombardo as the 14th Command Sergeant Major of the Army Reserve. The change of responsibility is a simple yet traditional event that is rich with symbolism and heritage. The key to the ceremony is the passing of the colors. The very soul of a military unit is symbolized in the colors under which it fights, for they represent not only the lineage and honors of the unit, but also the loyalty and unity of its soldiers. The custodian of the colors is the Command Sergeant Major, who is the senior enlisted soldier in the unit and principal advisor to the commander. Ladies and gentlemen, the Chief of Army Reserve and Commanding General, U.S. Army Reserve Command, Lieutenant General Charles Luckey.
Team Double Eagle 6, Fort Myer, Virginia. Just want to recognize a couple outstanding non-commissioned officers in America's Army Reserve, saying goodbye to Command Sergeant Major Ted Copeland. And we're going to be welcoming in Command Sergeant Major Lombardo here over the next few days, next week or two. I wanted to share with you a couple thoughts on both these great leaders. First and foremost, Sergeant Major Copeland. So Sergeant Major Copeland's been doing an incredible job for this team for the last 4 years. He's been out there every day in every way, embracing commander's intent, getting after standards, discipline, fieldcraft, making sure as we built an Army Reserve that was the most capable, combat-ready, and lethal in the history of the United States of America. At the NCO level, every day in every way, he's helping drive that message and reinforce those fires so we're able to generate the capability that we were able to generate in space and time when required. Now, many of you heard me say this before. You know, I didn't think that the COVID fight would be the fight we'd end up this 4 years with in terms of where we had to generate capability and the speed at which we had to do it. But the reality is, we could never have done what we did over the last 6 weeks or so if Sergeant Major Copeland and other non-commissioned officers inside America's Army Reserve had been consistently pounding away at getting us more ready, more focused on readiness, more capable of moving faster, thinking with more agility about how we were going to generate capability at speed inside what we call RFX. And I told you for years now, and I'll keep telling you, we're all in RFX, and nobody has modeled that better than Sergeant Major Copeland. So he's going to go on to do other cool stuff in Ohio. I'm sure Grace has got a bunch of different things that he's supposed to do when he gets back to his hometown. But I'll tell you this, he'll be a soldier for life, and he will continue to message for all of us out there across America what right looks like, and make sure that we continue to remember that in uniform or out of uniform, we're all soldiers 24/7 forever. And we serve the people of the United States and we live the Army values. He's going to continue to do that. He's had a massive impact on America's Army Reserve, and he has done a fantastic job of setting us up for success as we move into the future. As to the future, so Sergeant Major Lombardo, another MP I might add, coming to us from New York City, and from his former experience as the CSM of the 210P Command. Another strong leader, coming to us with energy, with enthusiasm, ready to pick up where Sergeant Major Copeland dropped off and keep moving forward. We're going to continue into the future to build the most capable, combat-ready, and lethal Federal Reserve Force in the history of the United States of America. And I'm looking for Sergeant Major Lombardo, who I personally picked for this job, to make sure that the focus on standards, discipline, and getting after it, doing the right stuff the right way, continues to happen. Both in the non-commissioned officer corps, but also as an example for all the officers out there, many of whom have learned an awful lot, if not most of what they know, from NCOs and soldiers over the years of experience. So I want to welcome Command Sergeant Major Lombardo to this new job. I've already talked to him about it in many respects, about the challenges of it, the scope of it. Reminded him that you're moving to a level now where you're responsible for 200,000 soldiers and civilians across 20 time zones and 350,000 family members. It's a big job, it's a lot of responsibility, and it's strategic in scope. So I want all of you to do two things for me. Number one, just bombard Sergeant Major Copeland with farewell notes and thanks for everything he's done for this team. And the other one is make sure you give a very warm welcome and a supportive welcome to the incoming Command Sergeant Major of America's Army Reserve. These are leaders that have, in every day, in every way, continued to model what right looks like for soldiers across this force. And I'm confident that whether they're in uniform or out of uniform, they'll continue to do as we move in the future. Keep pounding. See you soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 13th Command Sergeant Major of the Army Reserve, Command Sergeant Major Ted Copeland.
This is Command Sergeant Major Ted Copeland coming from Fort Bragg, North Carolina. For all who's watching, hopefully you're having a good Army day, and appreciate you taking the time to review the footage of the virtual change of responsibility. I want to say first thank you to Lieutenant General Lucky, who had selected me to be the Army Reserve, America's Army Reserve Command Sergeant Major. It's been a great 3.5 years, and I appreciate him having the confidence in me to do it. Now to everyone else out there, thank you again for being here. If you're a leader, thank you as a leader. If you're a soldier, thank you as a soldier for being a soldier in America's Army Reserve. So the last 3.5 years have been very busy for me and America's Army Reserve. It's been truly an honor to serve the soldiers and the civilians of our great Army Reserve. I've been a lot of places and interacted with a lot of soldiers. What I found was they're outstanding. They're sacrificing their time, their family's time, and even their employer's time to do what they have to do for the Army Reserve. What have we been doing? Well, what we have been doing is my theme from the very beginning. NCOs take charge and drive readiness. So what did that really mean? It means our good non-commissioned officers taking personal ownership of themselves and their soldiers' readiness. So what's readiness mean? Readiness was medical training. If you're a non-commissioned officer doing your leader training, your non-commissioned officer education classes, or if you're a soldier getting whatever education you need for your job skill or your duty title. Things have changed. You know, I've worked with the non-commissioned officer corps, the senior CSMs, and all the non-commissioned officers, and they embraced this and helped me along the way. So the culture has changed. How we train our soldiers and how we produce readiness, whether it's soldier readiness for individual or for the unit, so they're deployable at any time if called. You know, a few examples of that was what we've done for the last several months. COVID-19 response. All the units that activated and deployed forward in across America to get after where it was medical or the sustainment of the medical forces to help our citizens, you know, get better and get through the crisis. I know the crisis is not over and we're still working on it, but these soldiers were prepared because of what we've done for the last 3 years on being ready ourselves. I want to say thank you to all the soldiers, the non-commissioned officers, and the officers of Army Reserve for doing what they have for the last 3 years and helped us along the way. I've been a non-commissioned officer for 33.5 years of my almost 36 years of service. I believe the Army universe rolls around the non-commissioned officer corps, or it should. So what's that mean? So that means non-commissioned officers, as I said earlier, taking charge, owning results, just not talking about what has to be done and not getting after it. The non-commissioned officers need to go further and to new heights. I know you're on your way. I just need you to keep driving that as you move forward. So in closing, I want to say a few words to Command Sergeant Major Andrew Lombardo. Hey, Battle, you and I have worked together a lot over the last 15 or so years. I have full faith and confidence that you're going to take this ball and you're going to run it forward. Maybe not get to the end zone, but you're going to move it down the field. Something, you know, words of wisdom to you that was provided me many years ago. I'm giving up the foxhole to you. You know, it was told to me a long time ago, when you got the foxhole, make improvements. I believe we made some improvements. You know, I made some improvements with a lot of help from you and my fellow CSMs and soldiers of America's Army Reserve. You know, so hand the foxhole to you. You know, I think we got the dug deep enough. I think we got good frontal coverage. I think we got the grenade sumps. I think your job now is to start building the overhead cover. You know, get the range card done and see how far you can go before you hand it off to the next Command Sergeant Major. So, you know, good luck to you. I'm out here. My phone will be on for a while for you. but I'll let you know when I'm going to shut it off, and you're not going to get me no more. So, but I'll be there as long as you need me. Battle. A few people I want to thank. First is my wife, Grace. She's been with me on the whole journey. We've been married over 37 years, so when I came into the Army and went on active duty, she came into the Army and on active duty with me. She's sacrificed a lot, and I owe her a lot, so I want to say thank you, dear, and I love you. To my oldest child, my daughter Anna, she's lived this dream the whole time too. She was 2 years old when I went on to active duty 37 years ago. She's been many places, and she's grown up without her dad a lot. So I want to say thank you for all her support, her helping her mother and her two brothers as they grew with me not being gone. To my middle child, my son Travis, he was born on active duty at Fort Campbell. He's been through this almost the whole run too. Same thing, sacrifice. Dad wasn't there growing up, and he supported his mom as he got older and helped, and I truly appreciate that. And the last is my youngest child, my son Trevor, who was born in 1997, and he's lived pretty much everything since 9/11. And Dad wasn't around a lot in the last 20-some years. Mobilized, deployed 4 times. This job in the last 3.5 years I've been gone, and he sacrificed just as much as his siblings and his mother. So to the whole family, I want to say thank you for everything. I owe you a lot. I'll be coming home soon, and I'll be paying back, I'm sure. Now to everyone else, all the leaders I've worked for, all the soldiers I've worked with and for, I want to say thank you. Been a great run. Wouldn't have changed a thing. Changed me completely, changed my family, everything you've done for me and with me. And good luck in your future endeavors if you're still in the Army. Hopefully your Army career keeps going well, and good luck to you there. And I'm going to close it out now. This is Double Eagle 7, Command Sergeant Major Copeland, signing off the net. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 14th Command Sergeant Major of the Army Reserve, Command Sergeant Major Andrew Lombardo.
Team, good morning. Good morning, General Officers, distinguished guests, Army civilians, fellow non-commissioned officers and soldiers, and my family and friends watching at home. I first thank General Lucky for allowing me the opportunity to serve in this position of trust. When I give speeches, I tend to talk about history, unit history, colors, battles, and the importance of knowing where we came from. I've had the great honor of serving with the Gold Sword Brigade, the soldiers of the century, the battle babies, and serving of the troops for the troops. Today, I represent 112 years of Army Reserve soldiering across 20 time zones, though I assure you I'm not that old. Though my first annual training was in the Army Reserve was way back in 1988 at Fort Dix, now Joint Base McGuire-Dix Lakehurst. If you've ever been to JBMDL, you've seen the statue of the soldier on the advance. The inscription says, "This monument is dedicated to the only indispensable instrument of war, the American soldier, the ultimate weapon." That inscription inspired me 32 years ago. It inspired me when it was my first unit insignia as a Command Sergeant Major, and it inspires me now. 190,000 of us today are on the advance. We're a group of men and women of every race, color, and creed, striving together to be the ultimate weapon. We're all soldiers, defending the Constitution and the values embedded in it, like those who served before us through all 112 years of the Army Reserve's storied history. Army Reserve soldiers are indispensable, whether we're securing detainees at Guantanamo Bay, defending freedom in the CENTCOM area of operations, executing communication strategies, influencing and disrupting our adversaries' decision-making processes, or most recently, answering the nation's call as urban augmentation medical task forces and mortuary affairs teams. And never forget, in the Army Reserve, you can do both. You're also citizens, grocery store clerks, factory workers, teachers, sanitation workers, engineers, firefighters, gas station attendants, cooks, computer geeks, truck drivers, doctors, business owners, lawyers, EMTs, and like me, cops. We can meet any challenge thrown at us in 2020 and beyond. The Ultimate Weapon statue has had a few refreshers here and there, and we have too. We're going from push-ups and sit-ups to shuttle runs and leg tucks, from Jeeps to joint light tactical vehicles, from pinks and greens all the way back to the new Army greens. We're not just stronger and faster, we're smarter, more innovative, and more lethal. Even with at-home haircuts, we're ready. And we must remain that way in the face of today's many challenges. We meet these challenges head on, and as always, we'll meet them because of who we are. I follow an Ultimate Weapon in Command Sergeant Major Ted Copeland. I'm honored for the opportunity to build on Command Sergeant Major Copeland's success and to lead in the development of the next generation of soldiers, non-commissioned officers, and leaders in the United States Army Reserve. Double Eagle 7, signing on the net.
Traditionally, the color bearer passes the colors to Command Sergeant Major Copeland, who in turn passes the colors to Lieutenant General Lucky, symbolizing the relinquishment of responsibility and the authority as the Army Reserve Command Sergeant Major. Lieutenant General Lucky passes the colors to Command Sergeant Major Lombardo, charging him with the responsibility and authority that comes with that position. We would like to thank you all for joining us for today's ceremony. Have a great Army Day.